Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, and today, or tonight actually, I'm going to show you an update of my craft room. I did a studio tour about 2.5 years ago, maybe 3? Oh my. And it's one of my most popular videos, but I wanted to kind of touch base again and show you some of the new ways I store some stuff and what I still have that works. So let's start off right here with the area where I usually work. I kind of sit there at the L-shape area, and I've got my silicone mat, which is just a baking silicone mat. I have all my rubber stamps in binders behind there. They're sorted by theme, and the themes that I've chose are just the themes that work well for me. If I take one off the shelf here, excuse the Dramamine inducing videography. I basically have page protectors in there and my clear and unmounted stamps stored inside. So that's how I do that. I recently put a shelf here. I do have a video on when I made this cinder block shelf. I used the holes in the blocks to store markers. I mounted a power strip there to the end, so I have my glue gun and coffee mug warmer, other things I need to heat up really close by. There's my water media rack, and a girlfriend of mine got me this. It used to hold bookmarks at a gift shop. She got it for me for free, I guess, and I just put my watercolor crayons and different pens, all water media, watercolor pencils, that sort of thing in there. Not all of my watercolor pencils, I have to admit, but really easy within reach for me to grab, so it's very handy. Up here is a couple containers, and I think I showed this in my last video, from a scrapbook store that went out of business, and I have regular Prismacolors on one side, and I have my alcohol-based markers on the other side. I have all the brands mixed up together because they work fine together, and I use Pro Markers, Prismacolor, Copic, Spectrum Noir, all sorts of different brands, even Bics and Sharpies, and they all play nice, so I put them together. Up there is just a random basket where I have my larger water buckets. I got these old printer's trays at thrift shops, and they're really great for holding my sentiment stamps and small alphabets. These little dollar sets that they have at Joann's and AC Moore and Walmart are really great. I use them a lot, but I didn't use them until I put them right here where I work. So it's so easy to just grab a little box of stamps and add a sentiment. And then I took my unmounted sentiments and I actually mounted them on Jenga blocks. And in a lot of instances, I put a couple sentiments on one block so that I would have them when I'm making a card. It's so much easier to grab a wood-mounted stamp than it is to dig around and find a sentiment. So I did that for those stamps. And I just have random, stamps that I grab a lot, little frames and stuff like that. I have some of my jewelry tools right here because I do a lot of jewelry. My little anvil, my dapping block, little bucket of very handy, useful brushes that I use a lot. My other tools are right over here on this iris cart. Another one of my girlfriends got me this for my birthday one year, and I took the lids off because I could store a lot more in here. If you have little ones, it's great to keep the lids on because they're kind of hard to open, but I wanted easy access, so I have all my card making and scrapbooking embellishments really handy there. And I have a miscellaneous drawer on the bottom that I throw seasonal junk in there just so I can find it. I made these little ink daubers just by taking some fun foam and a little bit of a cotton ball, and I stuck it on the top of one of these little doll pins and put a piece of fun foam on it and just put an elastic around it. So that was really easy, and they're great for blending ink. And I have some makeup wedges here and also some of the color box styluses, which are fabulous for blending ink. And I just have some texture mats under there for when I want to get a little more inky and a little more creative with my stamping. Little set of watercolors there. Very, very handy. My third arm, which is, or helping hands, whatever you want to call it, great for soldering and jewelry making. That's a $5 tool that's really useful. My heat gun is there, and it's plugged into another power strip that I mounted on my wall. As you can see, I'm in the basement, and I apologize, I'm talking fast because I don't want this video to be an hour long, but I do want to show you how I store an immense amount of crafting crap, basically. So I have some ink pads up there. They're the ones they sold at AC Moore. They're the Sugarloaf. It was like a kit of 30. I used a coupon, got it for like 15 bucks. But I like the pads were spongy, so I still have those, and I just re-ink them with dye base re-inkers. There are my Stampin' Up! Ink pads in a foam core shelf that my husband made me from a pattern that was from the Rebel Inker blog. It's a free pattern to fit Stampin' Up! Ink pads if you want to check that out. And my distress pads up top. And in this little chest of drawers, I have my specialty inks. Here in the top drawer, I've got, there, I'm looking at the screen of my camera to make sure I'm in focus. Glue pad, stays on, stuff the specialty stuff. I have my dye-based inks in the middle, like my rainbow pads, and my Memento. I use the Memento a lot. And on the bottom I have my pigment inks. And I have a recipe on making your own pigment ink on a video probably from about last summer, I think, if you want to check it out. Baby wipes there for wiping up messes. And I got some random beads, and there's some of my homemade beads and some beads that were just recently gifted to me. I have a lot of junk, and I know you're going to want to call hoarders on me after this video, or say that you are not the Frugal Crafter. Look at all that crap you have, girl. But honestly, I take in a lot of junk because I can give it a new life. So my calligraphy supplies are in here. I've got some inks in the top drawer. I've got some calligraphy pens here. More calligraphy markers and a double of an ink pad. Then I've just got a few drawers of a drawer of just random stamps. Some jewelry projects in progress, so they don't litter up my table. Sometimes I get really fired up about a project, and then I get kind of bored with it, and I just need to put it away for a while. And that's some stuff that needs to be soldered that I'll deal with. Hopefully I won't just forget about it in there, and I will deal with it. I saved these applesauce cups because they're really great for putting seed beads in, and then just they're really easy to just stick a curved needle in there and swirl it around and pick up a lot of beads. So they're there. I just downloaded that ebook online so I could make some bracelets. Thank you, Interweave. And I've got my friendly plastic in this container here all together. And I did keep my little fondant cookie cutters in there for that. I've shown my bead stuff in a previous video, but there is my box with all my findings. This is my box with all my wires and stringing tools. I was considering the scrapbook stuff, but I've got so many lovely trinkets that I haven't used that I've decided to put them with my jewelry because I think I will use them in jewelry making. Mediums and glues are up there. I have test tubes with seed beads in them. I just thought it was kind of fun. I bought them to use as party favors, the test tubes, but I couldn't bear to part with them, so I decided to use them for storage instead. The DVD cases also have stamps. They are the Stampin' Up! Clear mount stamps, and in the corner there I have some old cases that are just filled with stamps that I've hand carved. A little bottle of stamp cleaner there that I made. And then in those DVD cases on the end, that's actually what the stamp maker refill packets come in, the polymer packets. And so I just used the cases to store my stamps. It just made sense. So that's what I use that for. And I've got some extra refills up on top of that box for making more stamps. These up here are neat. They're just these little like Tic Tac boxes with beads in them. You can buy the empty ones at Oriental Trading or at Joann's. If you wait for a sale, you'll get a good deal. So that's how I have a lot of the other smaller beads stored. And then these are neat. I have shown these before in my bead video, so I won't go into it, but it's basically they're these stacking compartments that lock there, and I have my beads sorted in rainbow order. And I just got a couple new ones for Christmas. So I have 3 of those towers in all, and they're just wonderful. I really recommend them if you're looking for some bead storage. My acrylic blocks are in here, and I got a big 16 by 20 sheet of 1/4-inch plexiglass at the Home Depot at one point, and had my husband cut it down, and that's what most of my stamping blocks are, other than my rocker blocks and specialty stuff. And this is just chest of drawers. I have random craftiness in them, and I do get into this bucket pretty often because I've got my little circle cutters there. But you know, and my adhesive drawers here, which is a big old mess, but that's where I go for glue. And this is kind of funny. I found it at Sam's Club. They were party favors, but I thought I really like the test tube bead storage, so I got that to store some more beads in, which is kind of ridiculous, I know. Like, I need more beads, like a hole in the head, but, you know, there you have it. When I have, like, small scraps of cardstock, I just die cut them into buttons, and then I stick them in here. Also, I store my handmade embellishments in here, and just odds and ends. These hardware storage bins are affordable and really great in the craft room. Here is a canvas. I can see the rest of my basement from here. Isn't that exciting? I've got this canvas rack that I put my high viscosity acrylic paints in that I use more for painterly techniques rather than craft applications. And this is kind of fun, and I want to share this with you. If you're a stamper and you have these stamp wheels, I took this calendar frame and pounded nails in from the back, and then I just stuck my wheels on there, and I can see my patterns really easily, and it makes me more likely to use them. That's a sewing machine that I have not used yet. It was given to me. I have a sewing machine that I use upstairs for sewing, so it's just sitting there until I, take it out and make sure it works and get it running down here if I can find a place to put it. If not, I have 2 little girls, so when they want to sew with me, that's one of the reasons I accepted that gift. Here I have this was an old diaper stand I found at a yard sale for $5, and I've got the tools I don't use very often. My office binder, which I use a lot around Christmas time, my paper shredder that I use to do party fill for centerpieces, and I also use it to make quilling strips, is right there. The Creatopia, I won a contest at my craft channel, and so I have that in there. I don't use that very often. Sometimes I'll haul it out and do a big big run of projects with it, but not too often. But this is really funny. This back here, that is all full of glue sticks. It was really funny. I had lost a glue gun, and my other glue gun was on death's door. I burn through a glue gun about 1 a year. I use it all the time. And for fun, my mother for Christmas gave me this 25-pound box of glue sticks. I was so excited, and 2 new glue guns. So they're under there waiting to be used. And I've just got some knives and other cutters down there. All right, now I just want to take a quick peek over here to my filing cabinet, which holds, office-y stuff, nothing exciting. But these little containers were free from my brother-in-law who works at a mill, and their electrical tape comes in these, and they throw the containers away, so he saves them for me. I glue a magnet on the back and I stick them on here. But you could save any sort of tin and do the same exact thing. It's very handy. I always know where to find my brads and little odds and ends like crocheted flowers that I've made. I make a lot of my own embellishments, so I just kind of stick them in here, and I can see them every time I come in and out of my craft area. This is my photo taking area, and I do all my own photography for the articles I write in Scrap and Stamp Arts and other publications. And basically I have 2 aluminum clamp lights with daylight bulbs. I have a 3-sided box I made out of foam core with a piece of paper clipped to the top. This is my fancy magazine quality photo booth, but it works great. So if you're looking to take nice pictures of your artwork at home, give that a try. I think you'll really enjoy it. So I'm happy to share my secrets. So if you have any questions, leave a comment, for goodness sake, on my YouTube channel or on my blog, and I'm happy to help you. This is a rack that I got for $5 at a yard sale, and they had more, and I kick myself that I didn't buy more. But it's basically, if you want to try making it yourself, it's 1x3 pine, and the shelves are roughly between 4 and 6 inches apart, and it was meant for a rubber stamp store. And I actually got a lot of those stamps at that yard sale because this woman was selling her entire stash, and she used to own a stamp store. And that's where I got all those really cute house mouse stamps. But I arranged my stamps by theme. My large backgrounds are up top, my stampscapes in nature, house mouse. And I use my wood-mounted. I have not unmounted anything unless it just wouldn't stamp properly. I love looking at the stamps and taking them off the rack and stamping with them, so they're going to stay wood-mounted. I just think they're really fun. This rack here was from a Rite Aid that was going out of business. It was a poster rack, but it's perfect for use as a drying rack and also for storing my larger sheets of paper and paper pads. And if you like those stencils, the stencils can be purchased at Lindsay Stamp Stuff, my shop. Shameless plug. There you go. But it's a die-cut file that you can make your own stamps. And that was just me playing around with it. So my big work table is something I want to share. This was featured in my studio tour in Scrap and Stamp Arts in October last year? Year before. So basically I just made a couple of the cube units. I got them at Target on sale for $40. And the bins, if you time it right, you could find these for $2.50 at back to school time in the dollar spot at Target. And they're great because they hide away a lot of crap. And so I'll just let you peek in. I have no secrets from my YouTube viewers. These are all tags, which is a bunch of hot glue on the top of that tag box. I get tags and bags from Paper Mart in there and some shipping tags. I grab those all the time. I don't have very many punches, so I just have a couple bins with all my punches in them because that's all I have. I never got into the punches too much. This is just random junk. It's random junk. Oh my goodness. Coffee filters that I use. I do a lot of kids classes, so I save stuff. If people give me stuff, I take it because I'll try to use it in the class. I've got glass marbles to make jewelry out of. thumbtacks to make little push pins with the glass marbles, golf tees, you name it, it's in that drawer. It's things multiply in there. Some bead overstock, some plastic beads, and also some of my stone beads. Just, you know, overstock. I have got a lot of beads. Craft foam in here, and veggie leather, which is basically, I'm going to try making some jewelry with it. I'll let you know how that turns out. And just basically fun foam. It's a lot of fun to use with the kids. Keep my re-inkers in here. I buy dye-based ink, but I make my own pigment ink, and I have my ink all sorted by type, and I'll just haul this out here. I hope I'm not making you seasick. These are all my dye-based inks. When you buy an ink pad, like if you buy a Stampin' Up! Ink pad, buy the re-inker, because that'll, you know, that'll probably do you for life. I have my rollers for my wheels that I just showed you, my brayer, then I have just alcohol inks in here in another bag. I just keep them separated by baggies, nothing fancy. And I know when I want to do some mixed media jewelry and I want to color it, I'll just grab my bag of alcohol inks. I have a few inks that I got on sale for my wheel. I don't use those though. My gosh, I can't even remember the last time I actually popped one in. I just roll it on an ink pad. I'm telling you what, I'm so not fancy. The most unfancy crafter ever. Oh, that, by the way, is just a tray. I keep these all acrylic trays, and I sort projects in them. This is for a candle making video I'll be doing with my coffee mug warmer, upcoming shortly, and I just have it all there ready to go. I think that pretty much, oh, here is my, I like those little paper pads from my Mind's Eye and Die Cuts with a View. I use them a lot for cards, so they all just sit right there, very handy and easy to reach. And if we come over here, this is something I use all the time. It's basically just a $3 crate, a couple of them stacked up. I've got school supplies on the bottom, so when they have the back to school sale, I stock up on tons of crayons and notebooks and markers and all that jazz, because there's always fundraisers where they need them donated to the classrooms and stuff, so I get tons. Fabric scraps are in there, so when I'm like doing a little sewing, I've got some scraps to work with. Making juggling kits or whatever, there are my scraps. And here I have my paper, and it's stored by color, and patterns and solids are together, and it's in rainbow order, so I got yellow. And in each folder I have a folder of small vinyl scraps for die cutting, you know, signage or whatever stickers I need stickers for water bottle decals or whatever. And I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it's by rainbow order, and I always reach for that first before I cut into a new sheet of cardstock or pattern paper. This is like, you know, I have crap stored everywhere, and the stuff under counters is the non-pretty stuff. I've got my French easel for when I go painting in the field. I've got a bucket of towels because it's messy down here. I've got this bag of more of those little containers from the mill. I've got my on-the-go watercolor and on-the-go oil set, my whatchamacallit, silk screen under there too. See, I do a lot of crafts, and I need to be able to store a massive amount of stuff in my studio. So there's my torch. I've been doing a lot of bead making. I got that for Christmas from my wonderful husband. And over here, I've just got some more black and white fuse works. I really like the black and white from the fuse works, and it works really well with the Davardi glass that I just bought that's dirt cheap, and I'm really liking now that I've gotten used to it. A little hard to get used to, but I really like it. And these are stored in a letter bill sorter that you would like use to sort your bills. So that was that's one of those things that gets repurposed all the time. Last year it stored new stamps, it's stored different things all the time. I've got my crappy old pliers for when I need to reach into the flame for something or to adjust something and I don't want to burn my hands off, because don't burn your hands off, folks. That's like my mantra. Oh, there's some trash in the trash can. My mandrels there and a jar of marbles, that's the word. I've got this resin stuff here, and the reason it's out is because I don't want to forget I have it, and I can't use it until it warms up. It's very chilly in my basement in the winter, and I don't want to forget I have it because it does have a shelf life, so I want to be doing a huge run of jewelry, resin jewelry this summer. And this here is a chest that was in my son's room when he was a baby, and it was not adequate when my twins came along, so that came to the craft room. Most everything I have here is seconds. And I've got wrapping supplies in there. I've just got more wrapping and office supplies in there. But then the bottom 4 drawers are for clay, polymer clay. So my clay's here. It's fairly well organized. Then I've got my clay molds and my clay tools. And on the bottom, I have a questionable pasta machine, which I've taken apart a few times and is not It's not faring too well, so I don't know how long that's going to be taking up space in there. And I've got a big bag of scrap clay, which I've got a project with kids in mind for that. And I've got in that bag some things I plan to alter with clay. And I've got all of my drawers here labeled. Now this was a splurge, but it was actually a Valentine's present from my mom. I am spoiled rotten, by the way, if you haven't realized that yet in this video. So these cubes are fabulous. If you have the money to spend, I really recommend them. They buy Crop and Style, and they're designed to store scrapbooking things really well. So I've got some of my lovely Paper Mart ribbon and tulle in there. Basically, this whole row is ribbon stuff and fiber stuff. Over here, this is one of my miscellaneous drawers, but I call it my ATC drawer because I have a lot of small things that I would generally put on cards or artist trading cards, but don't necessarily fit other drawers. I don't do stickers, so I have a few stickers in there that I would actually use, but for the most part, if I get stickers given to me, those get passed right on to the kids or used up in my kids' craft classes. I love felt. It's so cheap and adds so much fun to a project, so I've got a drawer of just felt sheets. This is a miscellaneous tool drawer. I've got my Creative Hot Marks, Bejeweler, which was a gift and I haven't really used it. And then since I know that rhinestone thing's there, I keep my Paper Mart rhinestones in there. And I've got Dymo tape for some reason because my Dymo machine broke like 2 years ago. For some reason I'm hanging out of that tape. I don't know what I expect is going to happen. Glitter and baking crystals. Baking crystals were popular back in the 80s. You'd get the little metal sun catcher frame. You'd put it on a cookie sheet and you'd spend hours painstakingly putting those crystals in. And then, somebody would sneeze and they'd fly across the room and it was the most frustrating freaking craft on the planet. Anyway, I have a bunch of those crystals because they're really great for adding to your friendly plastic projects. Oh boy, it's late. Did I tell you that? Another junk drawer, which is, my glitter tray. Old Tupperware lids, which are surprisingly useful. Egg dyeing cups. I'm not sure what this is, but they're kind of fun to put. These acetate tags, I don't know. And baby spoons. Good grief. You see the stuff I save? Please don't call hoarders. My chipboard drawer. And I usually get the naked chipboard, so I can... as you can see, I don't bake, so all my cookie cutters are down here in the craft room. And it's quite a full collection. Down here is just tape and for some reason coffee filters, but mainly like drywall mesh for making my own magic mesh, the dotty stuff if I want to make kind of faux sequin waste, and my packing tape for when I pack up my fabulous wares to ship off to lucky buyers. Oh my, kill me. And there's some die cut felt. And a lot of that is felt. I actually die cut one day when I was working at my sister's shop, and she has a die cutter, she has a scrapbooking shop, and I just went to town with felt and the die cut machine. And then I've got some Queen & Company die cut felt, which is the gift, and it's one of those things I can't bear to use because it's so pretty, but I really ought to because the adhesive is, I think, got a shelf life. And there's another random drawer where I've got some shelf liner and an old airbrush, a cheapie. And I've got my pattern paper here, paper pads. I go through an immense amount of paper, go through gobs and gobs of it, and so as I use it up, I buy more. I seem to buy more. These drawers never go to empty. And a couple just like little inexpensive scrapbooks. I buy when they're on sale, like 4 for $10, and I use them for documenting my girls' brownie troop. And here, these wire cube units are really great because I dismantle them and put them together with zip ties all the time, depending on what I need. And I've just got some randomness there. I've got my glass supplies. I've got my glass shards here, which I use for glass fusing, but I have found that I can use them in the torch too, and use them for lamp working as long as I don't mix them with my glass rods. Vellum and specialty paper are up here in these file folders. They've been stored that way for a long time. I got some foam stamps up there. I have one of the drawers in my chest that I showed you earlier. It's just all of the Making Memory foam stamps. They were very popular back in the scrapbooking day. Watercolor stuff up there because I do a lot of watercoloring and I like to keep that handy. Got twine and feathers. I have a few large spools of ribbon up there that are still there because they don't fit on the rack that I built. But they're just fine up there. I use them mostly for gift wrapping. I've got a few tins of watercolor pencils, some handmade seam binding, and just odds and ends, more ribbon. Ribbon multiplies, I think. I really do. There's my Pearlex and cheap dollar store eyeshadow, which works as well as Pearlex, I have found. My heat-proof gloves and my microwave kiln and other glass supplies. I've I've got my stamping gear and my homemade stamping gear accessories, and just a glass file for when I'm working with my glass, more Pearlexy stuff. My homemade washi tape and store-bought washi tape. I just actually bought my first washi tape the other day for the first time ever. So I'm a big girl. I got big girl supplies. Bingo daubers and my homemade stain dauber paint things. Such a cheapskate. Nina paper, cardstock and paper. It's a ream of it, and I was very fortunate. I did an article on paper, and the Nina company sent me that, which was really, really quite lovely. And I got my little Letrajet air marker package in case I forget how to use it. It's a tube that firstly I don't need to keep that, but I do. And this is a rack that the library was throwing it away. It's a paperback rack, but I put my yarn on it because that way, when I'm planning a project, I can take a look and see what I have, spin it around, match my colors. It makes me get a lot more use out of my yarn. It's I teach a couple knitting classes. It's really great for picking out stuff for projects. I made that rack out of foam core. There is a video on my YouTube channel on how to do that. Maybe I'll be fancy and figure out how to put one of those clicky buttons so you can click it and go right to that video if you're interested. Don't have your hopes up to. If you see a little button right now, then yay, I did it. If not, well, that's to be expected. And this is actually a sandpaper display rack that I got from a hardware store for free, and I use it to keep the cream and white cardstock I use all the time, and just some stuff that won't fit into this 12 by 12 record cabinet, which I showed you in my last video. I got it at a yard sale for 10 bucks. My husband painted it for me, and I have all my cardstock in rainbow order, except for apparently that new stack that was gifted to me a while back. So yes, I take in all sorts of misfit craft supplies and I put them to hopefully good use. Air compressor, airbrush. Toaster oven. This was a wedding present for my mother for her wedding like 35 years ago, and it's still kicking. The toaster oven has lasted as long as my parents' marriage, which is awesome in both accounts. So it's this old toaster that I'm telling you bakes clay better than anything I have ever used. So it looks awful. I will never replace it. It's so fabulous. It always just works right. And this is how I bake my beads, my polymer clay beads. It's just a piece of cardstock, accordion folded in the bottom of this pan, and it keeps me from getting shiny spots on my beads. So that's why I do that. That's my fiber blanket for cooling my lampwork beads, the beads I make on the torch, the glass beads. And over here, I have dies. I don't have too many steel rule dies. So when I buy them, I make sure I'm getting ones that I'll use over and over again. And they work with my Big Shot, which is my die cutter of choice. I think it's much better quality than the Cuttlebug and the Revolution and a lot of the other die cut machines that are out there. It's my personal opinion, of course, but it really, you can't kill that thing. It's just fabulous. Just some little canvas bins from the dollar store. I've got business cards and candles and coffee filters, just random stuff that I use and don't really want on display. So tuck them in there. Some of my prettier bottles of glitter are up there with more paintbrushes. This is filled with the foam brushes, the inch foam brushes that go on sale a couple times a year at AC Moore. I've got buttons and more buttons. There's white buttons. I got buttons by color and that spice rack and those spice jars. More buttons over here. My postal scale for when I have to ship something off to a magazine or ship out a package to a customer, because I need to get the right postage, of course. These are candy bins that were 25 cents each at a party store going out of business. I'm such a scavenger, aren't I? Just go and buy this stuff from businesses going out of business. And that's my water pump, by the way. I have all these interesting sounds down here in my studio. And those are flowers, silk flowers that I've dismantled from the dollar store, and I sort them by color, and I use them quite a bit. And oil painting brushes. A basket of baskets, because I always seem to need to group things up in baskets for classes. My die cutter is under there. It's hiding. It's embarrassed of what brand it is. Then some of you probably know what brand it is. And there is my laptop, and I use that to control my die cutter and also to listen to audiobooks and whatnot when I work. I have a little laminator in there. You probably can't see it too well. It's kind of dark. But my little laminator, it was a great buy, 17 bucks at ABC Distributing, works great. And I have my laminating refill pouches in there. My not to be named die cutters accessories, and just a few, random things in baskets. Random things in baskets. Do you notice a trend here? This wine crate was ideal for storing embossing folders and brass stencils and some of these tiny dies that I picked up at Big Lots on clearance a couple of years ago. That Revolution die cutter, that is by, oh shoot, who makes that? Goodness gracious, I can't remember. But anyways, they did the L letterpress system, and that was on clearance for, I don't know, it was crazy cheap. And it came with a set of circle nestability type dies and also some letterpress plates. And I do love letterpress, and so I have all my plates in these Martha Stewart page protectors. So they have the little lips on them so they don't, your stuff doesn't fall out, because those little plastic letterpress plates are kind of slippery. So they're in this binder, which is quite handy. Oh, I just want to show you how I store my thin dies. I don't have a lot, but I have a couple, and a couple little sets, and they're on magnet sheets just inside this little 6x6 dollar store album, and it works out very well. And you know, since I don't have a lot, it works out great. I have all of my thin dies in this little tiny album, and it works for me, and it might work for you too, so that's why I am showing you this. And another more randomness, my toaster oven usually lives down there, but I've been doing a lot of clay, so that's why it's out currently. That's why you saw it on my desk. This box is just, I've got hair gel for squish cards. I have, I wonder if I could set that right there for a second. Let me put this away. I have turpentine and pledge and denatured alcohol and lots of smelly, weird, but useful stuff, sandpaper, sponges, all that good stuff. And my my little bulletin board that I use for craft fair display just has some decoupaged pattern pieces on it, and I make these are the little thumbtacks. I was telling you, the glass marbles and the thumbtacks, that's what I make. They're on there, and I pin my earrings to that board when I sell them at craft fairs. Now this, I'm going to step back here and show you this. Oh wait, first let me show you the other end of my table, what I made with the Target cubes. That's just a door sitting on the top, by the way, a hollow core door that was reclaimed from another part of my house. I didn't toss them when I replaced the closet doors. I kept them. And I have a couple cubbies are filled with magazines that I've been published in. I've got envelopes, sets of pastels from when I used to teach. I've got more of those containers from the mill with embellishments that I've made in them, clay that I've made. And on the bottom are my sprays and some more adhesives, but mostly like my sprays and fixatives and stuff. And then I've got my on-the-go show box, which is what I bring to craft fairs and whatnot, or sidewalk art festivals, things I need, and a little dust buster for keeping my rug fairly tidy. A little space heater there for my chilly basement, because sometimes I just need to warm it up a bit. All right, so I'm showing you this Tower of Power. Oh, I like that, Tower of Power. There's a lot of crap in those, in there. I gotta show you what's behind the curtain. I feel like the Wizard of Oz. Let's look behind the curtain here, shall we? Alright, so I've got 6 plastic storage units here, and in them are lots of useful stuff. And the reason I have this cover is because when my twins were born, I have snaps, heavy duty snaps on the side, and I would snap that up. It was in my bedroom, and that's where I pretty much stored everything. I've got drawing supplies. I have, and this is probably boring, but I wanted to show you what I actually have, because a lot of people show you their pretty room, but they don't show you where they actually keep their stuff, because, you know, if you're like me, you got a lot of stuff. Packaging supplies for the stuff I sell at shops and craft fairs. More packaging supplies. I have a lot of those clear bags in different sizes. I should really tuck this sheet up. Sorry for the shaky camera here. Paper making and sea glass. I know it's random. And my acrylic craft paints there. I've got some thread and sewing things in there. Light box, other randomness. And that's just a bunch of like my soldering and stained glass stuff. And watercolor, a few bins of watercolor stuff and templates. And, you know, I just have it organized how it makes sense to me. It might not make sense to you, but the first 3, pay no attention to the labels, I've moved things around. The first 3 bins there are all framing supplies. I have oil paints, liquid watercolors, which are really great if you work with children. I just restocked recently because I had just about used everything up, but I use them to make my shimmer sprays, my spray inks. You can re-ink the children's watercolor pads with those. They're just really concentrated and great. And on the bottom, it's because it's the heaviest drawer, is my oil paints. And there you have that. up here I've got pastels, I've got bins of, got some CDs up there, my knitting needles, which usually are in a very chic, gorgeous vase, but my husband got me flowers for Valentine's Day, and it's like seriously the only vase I own, so that went upstairs with the pretty flowers, and I've got a old plastic pitcher holding my knitting needles right now. So see where my priorities are. You can see where I spend my money. It isn't on clothes and vases, it's on the, the craft crap, isn't it? Alright, so let's move right along. Oh, we're right back at our desk where we started, which was also made from a door. You're noticing the door theme. Everything is made from a door in here, apparently. Well, there you have it. I think that I showed you how I stored everything. Oh, I should let you peek at my my disgraceful under the benches, because it looks so neat and tidy. These little canvas things, but really I've got old books from the library. I've got buoys. I've got, you know, shadow boxes. I got plaster of Paris and big gobs of glue and joint compound and containers of wax and all sorts of stuff that isn't pretty, but I will use, and I do use, and I need to keep it nearby even if I don't want it on display. And my, you know, randomness under there, old journals, candle making supplies, soap making supplies, the stuff I don't really want to look at. But I do like to keep a lot of stuff out and visible so I remember to use it, and it also makes me happy to look at it while I'm in my studio. So I talked fast. I apologize for that, but I didn't want to make the video too long. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment on this video or on my blog. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Those are just some more alphabet stamps. I mentioned it, so I wanted to show you. Oh, this is a really cool stamp cleaner I made. Holy moly, you probably can't even see that. I'm awful handheld camera person. But you take 2 painter's pads you get at the hardware store, and you just glue them inside of a travel baby wipes container, and then you spray one side with your cleaner, and you wipe your stamp on that to clean it, then you wipe it on the dry side to dry it off. It cost me like 25 cents to make it because I found the paint pads at Martin's, and I had that left over from, you know, all the babies that I've had, and so it works great. And I made one for my kids' stamping area too, so it was really, really good to have. Well, there you have it. It's my craft room, and I have a lot of stuff, and you're probably thinking, she's not the Frugal Crafter. Look at all the junk she has. But I don't throw anything away, and I needed a way to store it, and I hope some of these tips have helped you as well. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.